Our next speaker is a U.S. Navy veteran, entrepreneur, and a longtime member of the Fusion Growth Partners family. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the unstoppable, mission-driven leader, Travis Winfield.
All right, how's everybody doing this morning? All right, so James is gonna get mad at me, but you know, he's known me long enough that I kind of do my thing. I have this whole slide prepared. I know I'll kind of go through, yeah, I'm in the Navy, I started a company, that's all great. I don't have this little screen up here, so I guess I'm gonna keep looking back here, but the fact is, I wanna tell a story, is that okay? James, at that speech that he just did was incredible, but I realized the theme here, if I really want you guys to know getting through the valley of despair, can I get real vulnerable and tell y'all a story? Now, I'm gonna try to get through this. But back in, James has been mentoring me from the beginning, and I had this great idea that as I was building my business, I built a great business, I was very blessed that my son was being part of it, and we were doing fantastic. What happened in 2020, 2021? Like you didn't even know how to do real estate. The fish were just jumping the boat, weren't they? So then I thought it was a great idea, so I'm running a team, I'm building a national brokerage for military, I'm on the board of directors for a non-for-profit for military, and if I wasn't busy enough, I thought it was a fantastic idea to buy a brewery. Now, James would sit there in the back of my head telling me, he's like, I don't know, man, this is not a great idea, but of course, I just do my thing. And I did, so I bought a brewery, so I'm burning the candle at four ends, and then life happens. Does life ever get easier sometimes? It doesn't. So in 2022, by the way, you know, in my service, I am 100% disabled through PTSD from the military. So to kind of preface that. And so in our industry, this is not an easy industry, is it? So then as I was going, so I'm burning the candle at four ends, and then my stepmother who helped raise me passed away. Further on in 2022, we're big horse people. My wife is a big horse person, and we lost a horse right there that year, devastated our family. And then a dear friend of us, a neighbor, passed away unexpectedly. And then in September of 2022, my grandmother, 91 years old, lived a beautiful life, unfortunately was coming to the end of hers. And I was there, and I was on her bedside. And I got disclosed to me that there was a family secret I didn't know about that got disclosed to me, that literally she tells me this over my grandmother's deathbed. And I'm literally in shock. And my grandmother passes away right in front of me. And, I kept it together through that time. But then I got home and something happened. I experienced something that I never knew was possible. I've been to war. I've been all over the country. I've seen death. I've seen this stuff. So why is it affecting me now? You take all of that and then you couple it with the fact that I literally went into clinical depression. I could not physically move. If it wasn't for my son up here, and my family, my wife, and my daughter, I'm an extrovert. Can you imagine? I couldn't even get out of bed. I was sitting there crying in the corner of my bedroom every day, and I had no idea how to get out. And I'm not a victim. I never wanted to be a victim. So I was going to therapy. I got on medication. I went Reiki heal. I tried everything. Long walks in the woods. I want to tell you why that story is so impactful to me is because after about 2 months, I had the opportunity that my wife agreed for me to go out and fly to Tony Robbins, who did his first in-person event in Florida. And Mr. Becker happens to be living right there. And he graciously told me, hey, why don't you just stay with me and my wife? And he hosted us. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to talk about what he just said at the end of his speech where he says Fusion will always be there? Well, he puts his money where his mouth is. And he took me in. And I have never seen somebody so gracious. And when I was in the darkest of darkest days, and just gave me hope. He went on to, literally, I left there, and for the first time in almost 3 months, I saw the light. And so you want to talk about getting through the valley of despair? It can happen, especially if you surround yourself with the right people. All right, so I came up here today to give you all this stuff about how I went from starting in 2009 to getting all the way through Profit Taker. But ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you this. If you don't have the right people around you to support you, if you do not trust and build your circle that you can absolutely trust, if you can do that and you can find those people, I promise you, you can never fail. And I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it's okay to fail. Fail forward, though. You know, Denzel Washington says, fall down 7 times, but get up 8. And that's what I did. I got up that 8th time. And just like with a tree that's not growing the way it used to, what do you have to do? You have to prune it. So we pruned it down, and we poured into our business, and we went through all the different phases. And this is true. I've been with Fusion for over, almost a decade. And I went from doing 10 deals to 20 to 40 to 50 to 80. And we've all seen these phases, right? The groundbreaker, the rainmaker, the team maker, and the profit taker. Here's what I can promise you. With Fusion being behind you and having the right people in your circle, and you follow this and you surrender yourself to this process, you'll be right here before you know. Because we all know in real estate, are we not jobless every time we close a transaction? So this will give you an exit. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever seen the people that are like 100 years old still selling real estate? That still have the picture from when they're in their 20s? So the point being, guys, is that you can do it if you surrender to the process. Through my evolution, I've literally gone through all of it. And I didn't always listen. But I did add something, and I realize now, I literally ask this all the question, what would James say? And I literally, before I ever make any decision, I actually kind of get a little anxiety. I'm like, oh, crap, I got to go tell James what I'm about ready to do. But he's always been there, and it's always supported me. So the Fusion Advantage system scales, they can really do 80 to 90% of the back end if you just surrender to it. But this was literally me before Fusion, and this is me after. I'm kind of pushing through a little bit quicker, guys, because I wasn't planning to do that story, because I do want to give you all some actionable stuff. But we have grown the team, and I got to tell you, this is where it's also going to get tough. This young man that you're going to be able to hear speaking up here shortly is nobody. Can we be real? If you really look at yourself, who is the only people on the planet you want to do better than you in life? Right now, Sebastian's on pace to actually break any record I've ever done, and I have had nothing to do it for over a year. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I could have gotten out of this either. When you surround yourself by the right people, it really can. And so now I'm proud to say that I've been able to exit, and I have, as you heard, I'm launching a new company literally next month that is devoted to serving veterans as well in the real estate space and really change the game on what they're doing. And then at the same time, I'm also launching a new book to help solve the financial literacy crisis amongst our veterans. So real quickly, can I just who are my veterans doing? Can y'all please stand up and be recognized? There's 1.6 million real estate agents in this country. Did you know that over 6.5% are veterans? And that's a typical of this room. And I just want to say thank you for your service. We could not be here doing what we're doing today without you guys. So thank you for that. And that's what this book is all about. All right, so anybody want some actionable stuff to put in your business today? All right, so there's been two people in my life that have truly been the most impactful in my life. The first one, of course, is James Becker, but the second one you're hearing from this afternoon is Brian Shudo, top 25 loan officer in the country, one of the most prolific speakers I've ever met. He taught me this tactic when I had never even sold a house before. And he pulled me under his wing, and he said, just do this, and it'll be okay. So here's what it is, down and dirty. If you really want to know what you do, like if Fusion's doing 80 to 90% of the back end stuff, that still means you got to get out there and kiss hands and shake babies, ladies and gentlemen. So here's how you can do it. You do a power hour. Every day, block it in your calendar is your do not F with me time. And you take that hour, and on Mondays, you call your top 50 VIPs. Okay? And that's every week. So you take 50, divide it by 4, you're calling your VIPs once a month. You only call them so you divide it by 4, and you'll talk to them every month. Tuesdays, this is your terrific Tuesday update. This is where you can actually give your clients something that they can actually work on and expect you to call every single Tuesday, because communication is the number one failure amongst real estate agents. So you call your current clients, past clients, your current clients that are in escrow, buying, or listing their home. Wednesdays, this is really where you work on your leads. You call all your warm leads, cold leads, hot leads. This is where you call them and you keep calling your leads until they tell you to F off. I'm being good, James. Now, Thursday, this is your money maker. This is where you're going to call every single person in your database. Does that mean you're going to call 5,000 people? No, what you can do is do what's called the alphabet technique, where you actually take, how many letters in the alphabet? 26. How many weeks in a year? So if you call every one of your database by a letter of their last name, how many times will you stay in front of mind with your entire database? Is that too much? That is your gold mine, ladies and gentlemen. There's the one that worked with you. And that will allow you to stay front of mind and work the system the way it's supposed to be worked. And then last but not least, Friday should be your B2B and your agent attraction if that's your thing, and where you're trying to build those whales that will give you business, like if as a financial advisor. They send you business, you send them business. If you're wondering what to talk about, Forward. It's a simple concept. It's just a little script you use in the back of your head. Every time you're calling a client, you ask about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. And last but not least, I will say that this is one of my favorite quotes. It's by General George Patton. And if you're ever wondering, if you get stuck in that analysis paralysis mode, well, this is where it really inspired me. And he says, a good plan, violently executed today, is better than the perfect plan executed next week. So just take massive action today. Can we do that? Can we do that? All right, so in closing, this is where your journey awaits here. Success in real estate isn't about perfection. It's about consistent action and authentic connection. Trust the process. Surrender to it. Think beyond today. Keep moving forward. One step forward, because if you're standing still, you'll never get anywhere. Last but not least, embrace every phase. It's not a question of whether the fusion works. Your journey proves that it does. The question is, are you ready to commit to your transformation? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.